Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. Dear students, I welcome you all in this second session of Semantics and Pragmatics. We are studying syntactic semantics. The topic that we already have covered are contradiction, ambiguity, and anomalous sentences. And in this session, I will share information about entailment and presupposition. At the end of each topic, you will find an activity that you have to be done by yourself to check your knowledge about the particular topic. Furthermore, I will sum up all my discussion here in this session. Therefore, I need your attention. Now, I will discuss the topic entailment. Entailment means a relationship between sentences, so that if sentence A entails sentence B, then if we know A, we automatically know B. Or alternatively, it should be impossible at the same time to assert A and deny B. Simply we can say that one sentence may entail other sentence, that is, include the meanings of other sentence in its meaning, just as hyponymy includes the meanings of the other words. So in entailment, when we say A entails a sentence B, in this case, we give an argument or valid argument we are providing that the conclusion is entailed by the premises. For example, Henry murdered his bank manager. In another example, Henry's bank manager is dead. So the one statement A or the sentence A entails a sentence B. It means that if A is correct, then B is also correct. We cannot deny B. It means A asserts B or A entails a sentence B. Here are some of the characteristics of entailments given. One of the characteristics is the logical consequences following from what is asserted in the sentences. So there must be some logical consequences. That is, when the speaker utters some sentences, then there must be based on some logic. So the sentence, one sentence if is true or the major premises is true, then second must be true. Sentence, not speakers, have entailment. So this is a very important characteristic that you may have to be noticed, that sentence have entailment, not the speakers. Entailment depends on sentence meaning, not the context in which the sentence is used. So we will discuss these characteristics one by one whenever we will discuss the examples here in this next slides. So the third characteristic defines that sentence meaning is more important. So entailment depends on the sentence meaning, not in which context the sentence is being used or uttered by the speaker. Here are some of the examples given about the entailment. Here in example 1, Jim is fatter than Catherine, and Catherine is fatter than Neil. In the second, Jim is fatter than Neil. So here we see that sentence A entails the sentence B. Another examples of entailment is given here. Some says that the earth goes around the sun. and sun says that the earth moves. So the earth goes around the sun, and in the second sentence the earth moves. It means the both are true. It means that the sentence A entails sentence B. So entailment means here that sentence A asserts that sentence B is true. It means when I say I have blue pen and I say I have a pen. So being specific, I would say that I have a blue pen. Therefore, this is an example of entailment. So in another example, he is short and cute, or he is short. It means that he is short, so one sentence entails the other. But if we say that dog is brown, and from this sentence we cannot get that the dog is loud, so the last sentence is not entailment. Means there is no entailment, not entailment in this sentence. But if I took the first example, I have a blue pen, or I have a pen, instead of I have a blue pen, I write here or say that I have a pen. And here I say I have a blue pen. It means that when I say I have a pen, then it means that I have a pen of any color. It could be blue, it could be green, it could be red, it could be black. So this is the tricky thing about the entailment. It means that when we have a general statement, as we have that I have a pen, so in case of general statement, we cannot make it a specific. Therefore, entailment is something that logically follows from what is asserted in the sentence or what is asserted in the utterance. In the sentence, I have blue pen. So here the blue means that I have a pen. It means that I have a pen of blue color. It means definitely I have a pen. So the sentence A entails sentence B. In case if I say here I have a pen, and in sentence B I say I have a blue pen. So whether the sentence A entails the B? No. It does not entail the sentence A and B. So because when I say I have a pen, it is general statement. So when from the general to specific we are going. So it cannot entail the other sentence, because if I say I have a pen, on the other side it may be of any color. So the first sentence does not entail the other. So we may say that if the sentence goes from specific to general, it entails. But if the sentence goes from general to a specific way, it does not entail the other sentence. As I have said, entailment is a relationship between a sentence and a set of sentences. So in the case of valid argument, say that the conclusion is entailed by the premises. So here is the examples given. Mary's brother bought something. What bought he? He bought 3 animals. He bought 2 horses. He bought 1 horse. So the sentences are a best examples of entailment. So we can say that linguistic entailments occurs when one may draw necessary conclusions from a particular use of words, phrases, or even a sentence. So entailment phrases are relations between propositions and are always worded as if A then B. As I said, that if A is true, then B must also be true. When I analyze this example, Mary's brother bought something, and he bought 3 animals. So we analyzed that Mary has a brother. it means Mary also exists. So Mary has only presupposition or only presuppositions means Mary exists, Mary has a brother, and he has only one brother. So Mary's brother is rich. So this is the presuppositions that we find out from these examples. So entailment, as Mary's brother bought three animals and 2 horses in which and 1 horse. So entailment follows from the sentence regardless of whether the speaker's beliefs are right or wrong. So what we got from these slides, that something that logically follows from what is asserted in the utterances is called entailment. Here an activity is given at the end of the topic, and students have to select from the pair of sentences whether A entails B or A does not entails B. In the first A sentence, John is bachelor, and in first B, John is a man. So you have to give answer in yes or no, whether the pair of sentences A entails B. So in second A, Eliza plays the fiddle, and in second B, someone plays the musical instrument. So what you have to do, from this pair of sentences, you have to find out whether A sentence A entails B. In third A, I have done my homework, and in third B, I haven't brushed my teeth. Same is the case here, that you have to find out whether the sentence A entails B. For A, some of the students, and in for B, not all of the students. So answer is given, options are given here yes or no. It means that you have to identify whether the sentence A entails sentence B or not. If sentence A entails sentence B, then you have to take on yes. If it doesn't entails B, you have to mark no. Now I will discuss something about presupposition. A presupposition is something that speaker assumes to be the case prior to making an utterance. It means that this is a part of what is communicated but not said. So there are 2 parts or 2 aspects, where one is that what is communicated and the other is but not said. So speakers assume certain information is already known by their listeners. So here is an example. She opened the door. So the word opened is already highlighted because it is based on the presupposition. So presupposition is here that before the door was not open. Therefore, she opened the door. In more general way, speakers continually design their linguistic messages on the basis of some assumptions about what the hearer already knows. So these assumptions may be mistaken, of course, but they underlie much of what we say in the everyday use of language. It means that daily we communicate with the people, daily we use language, and we make many assumptions. So assumptions sometimes may be mistaken, sometimes they may be wrong or mistaken. Here the examples of presupposition is given. The King of France is bald, and B, the King of France is not bald. Is the King of France is bald? If the King of France is bald, he should wear a hat in the winter. So what we presuppose is from the above sentences that there is a King of France. There are 7 types of presupposition. One is potential presupposition, existential presupposition, factive presupposition, lexical presupposition, structural presupposition, a counterfactual presupposition, and non-factive presupposition. I will discuss here all these presuppositions one by one. First of all is the potential presupposition. So potential presupposition can only become actual presupposition in context with speakers. For example, if John says, I don't have car, and Mary says, so that at least you don't need to worry about where to park your car. John has a car, your definite description. So here what we have identified that the potential presupposition that John has a car is the contradictory to the assertion that has already been put in the context. So this is why the potential presupposition does not become a real one. Mary does not know that John has a car, so that she said that you don't need to worry about where to park your car. Now come to existential presupposition. So presupposition, it is such types of assumption of the existence of the entities named by the speaker. For example, when a speaker says Tom's car is new, we can presuppose that Tom exists, and same is the case that he has a car. So this is existential presuppositions. It means that both Tom and car exist. Now, factive presupposition. The presupposed information following a verb like know, realize, regret, glad, and be, etc. And these all verbs can be treated as a fact. So as these are based on fact, therefore it is known as factive presupposition. For example, she didn't realize that he was ill. It means the symbols identified the presupposition that he was ill. Now another example, we regret telling him. So presupposition is, factive presupposition is, we told him. It means that we told him, therefore we are regretting it right now. I am glad that it's over. So what we have presupposes here, that presupposition says that it is over. It means that it is completed. Therefore, I am glad. Now here is the lexical presupposition. So in using one word, the speaker can act as if another meaning will be understood. For example, Mary stopped running. So what we presuppose means lexical presupposition says that she used to run. So when it says we are late again, it means presupposition, it means the lexical presupposition. According to the lexical presupposition, what we say is that you were late before. Are you still such a bad driver? So here what we presuppose, that you were a bad driver. So stop, again, and stills. These are italicized word here. So these are taken to presuppose another that are unstated, but they are presupposes to another. Now here is the structural presupposition. Certain sentence structure conventionally and regularly presuppose that parts of the structure is already assumed to be true. So most of the WH questions are included in structural presupposition. For example, when some says that when did he leave? So what structural presupposition says that he left? So all the questions that are WH based are structural presuppositional based. Where did you buy the bike? It means presupposes that you bought the bike. Therefore you are saying where did you buy the bike? Who is coming? The structural presupposition is here, someone is coming. A counterfactual presupposition is the assumption that what is presupposed is not only untrue, but is the opposite of what is true or contrary to the fact. For example, the example is taken from button. If you push the button, Mr. Stewart told him, somewhere in the world, someone you don't know will die. So here presupposes that he will not push the button. So he also here presupposes that they had not experience of such phenomena before. Therefore, he is saying that if you push the button, somewhere in the world someone you don't know will die. Non-factive presupposition is an assumption that is referred to something that is not true, means that is not factual based. For example, the verb like dream, imagine, and pretends are used with such types of presupposition that is not true. So, yeah, examples are given here. I dreamed that I was rich. So, what it presupposes that actually I am not rich. So, it is non-factive presupposition. So, if we say we imagined that we were in London, so what we presuppose is that we were not in London actually. So this is non-factive presupposition. He pretends to be ill. It means that he is not ill. So this is also non-factive presupposition. So to conclude, I can say that a presupposition is an implicit assumption about the world or background belief relating to an utterance whose truth is taken for granted in discourse. Now at the end of this topic, an activity is given here. So the student has to fill or to identify the different types of presupposition. In sentence 1, I imagined that I was in Hawaii. In sentence 2, John regretted eating a sandwich. In sentence 3, they started complaint. In sentence 4, he claimed to be a teacher. And in the last sentence, if I were rich, I would buy a Ferrari. So you have to identify the different types of preposition. So you have to write down the type of presupposition against each statement. Now I will sum up all this discussion. First we discussed contradiction. Contradiction is the relation between two propositions such that if either is true, the other is necessarily false. Example, I have given you that my necktie was cheap and my necktie was expensive. So sentences that make opposite statements about the same subjects are contradictory in nature. In contradiction, we have studied that speakers recognize when the meaning of one sentence contradicts with another sentence. Contradiction is a sentence that is necessarily false as a result of the sense of the words in it. As these examples I have given to you, that Pamela considers the fact that her mother was alive and realized that it could not possibly be true. So this is a contradictory statement. After that, I discuss with you about ambiguity. Ambiguity is a word, phrase, or sentence is considered to be ambiguous if it has more than one meaning. In other words, ambiguity has more than one interpretation. So in our discussion, I have discussed 4 types of ambiguities with you. The first one is lexical ambiguity. The second one is structural ambiguity. The third is semantic ambiguity. And the fourth is pragmatic ambiguity. In lexical ambiguity, I discussed that sentence contains an idioms or words, so the term that has more than one meaning. And for example that I have given to you, that is glasses, because it has different meanings. The second type of ambiguity is structural ambiguity. that occur when sentence has more than one syntactic tree. For example, I saw the boy with a telescope, so it gives a more than one syntactic tree. So this is an example of structural ambiguity. The third type I discussed with you is about semantic ambiguity. Semantic ambiguity arises when a word or concept has an inherently diffuse meaning that is based on the widespread or informal usage. So the example that I have given to you is maybe in idioms, or a car used in Jones is looking for a car. The last type of ambiguity is pragmatic ambiguity, that arises when the statement is not specific and the context does not provide the information needed to clarify the statement. For example, if I say, I will meet you tomorrow, and chicken is ready to eat. So these are pragmatic ambiguities. After that, I have discussed with you semantic anomaly. Anomaly is semantic oddness, and anomaly expressions have no conventional interpretation. Therefore, it is referring to meaninglessness. So speakers know in general way whether something is meaningful in their language or not. Same is the case with the example, sleep furiously. So there are many ways in which anomalies occur. For example, number 1, contradictory semantic properties. Due to contradictory semantic properties, number 2, nonsense words, and number 3, violation of semantic rules. For this I have given you an example. He killed the dead umbrella. To sum up my discussion, I will briefly define the entailment. Entailment means a relationship between sentences, so that if sentence A entails a sentence B, then if we know A, we automatically know B. Or alternatively, it should be impossible at the same time to assert A and deny B. So what we have identified that sentence A entails a sentence B. For example, Henry murdered his bank manager. It means in the second sentence, if we say Henry's bank manager is dead, it means that sentence A entails sentence B. Because in the first sentence it was written that it was mentioned that Henry murdered his bank manager. So when the word murder is already used in the sentence, it means that now the bank manager is no more. It means he's dead. After that, I discussed with you different characteristics of entailment. The one I discussed with you that they are logical consequences following from what is asserted in the utterances. And the second is sentence, not a speaker, have entailment. And the third characteristic is entailment depends on sentence meaning, not the context in which the sentence is used. For more clarification or for more information, I have discussed with you the example, the earth goes around the sun, and in the second sentence, the earth moves. So we can say that the first sentence in which I said the earth goes around the sun entails sentence B, that is the earth moves. Entailment also means that sentence A asserts the sentence B is true. For example, the dog is brown, the dog is loud. It does not entail the second sentence, but the example actually is I have blue pen and I have a pen. It means the first sentence entails the second. I have also discussed an example with you that in sentence 1, he is short and cute, and in the sentence 2, he is short. So the sentence 1 entails sentence 2. After that, I discussed with you presupposition. So the question here is in mind what the presupposition is. Till now we have discussed a lot of information. Till now we have gained a lot of information about presupposition. So here I conclude that presupposition is something that a speaker assumes to be the case prior to making an utterance, or speakers assume certain information that is already known by their listener. For example, if I say, she opened the door, so here what the presupposition is, I have discussed with you. Yes, it means before the door was not open. Therefore, the speaker said that she opened the door. Therefore, she opened the door because it was closed before. In presupposition, speakers continuously design their linguistics messages on the basis of assumptions about what the hearer already knows, and these assumptions may be mistaken, of course, but they underlie much of what we say in the everyday use of language. I defined the presupposition with an example, that if example A says, the King of France is bald, and in B, the King of France is not bald, and in C, is the King of France is bald, and in D, if the King of France is bald, should wear a hat in the winter? He should wear a hat in the winter. So what we presuppose is, it means that there is a King of France. This is what presupposition is. It means that something speakers assumes to be the case prior to making an utterance. Different types of presupposition I have discussed with you. The first one is potential presupposition. Second is existential presupposition. Third is factive presupposition. Fourth is lexical presupposition. Fifth is structural presupposition. Sixth is a counterfactual presupposition. Seventh is non-factive presupposition. In potential presupposition, we discussed that it can only become actual presupposition in context with the speakers. For example, I gave an example that John, I don't have a car. And Mary said, so that at least you don't need to worry about where to park your car. John has a car, so this is your definite description. So the potential presupposition that John has a car is the contradictory one to the assertion that has already been put in the context. This is why the potential presupposition does not become a real one. For elaborating the existential presupposition, I said that it is the assumption of the existence of the entities named by the speaker. For example, when a speaker says Tom's car is new, we can presuppose that Tom exists and that he has a car. So this was an example of existential presupposition. Now move to factive preposition. In factive presupposition, we discussed the presupposed information following a verb like know, realize, regret, glad, be. So these can be treated as a fact, and for this I give you examples. I'm glad that it is over, and we regret telling him. In lexical presupposition, we got an information that in using one word, the speaker can act as if another meaning will be understood. For example, if Mary stopped running, she used to run, it means that she used to run. That was presupposition. So this was the lexical presupposition. Same is the case with another example. We are late again. It means presupposition that is lexical in nature, that you were late before. When I discussed with you structural presupposition, I said that there are certain sentence structures conventionally and regularly suppose that part of the structure is already assumed to be true. And for this I said WH questions are considered the structural structural presupposition. For example, I said, when did he leave? So what a structural presupposition is? He left. It means he left. So when I said who is coming, it means the structural presupposition said someone is coming. And in counterfactual presupposition, I shared a very useful information with you, that it is the assumption that what is presupposed is not only untrue, but is the opposite of what is true or contrary to fact. Okay? It is the assumption that what is presupposed is not only untrue, but is the opposite of what is true or contrary to fact. And for this, I give you example. If you push the button, Mr. Stewart told him, somewhere in the world, someone you don't know will die. It means that presupposes that he will not push the button, or presupposes that they had not experience of such phenomena before. The last type of presupposition is non-factive presupposition. In non-factive presupposition, I said that it is an assumption referred to something that is not true. For example, verbs like dream, imagine, and pretend are used with presupposition that what follows is not true. For example, I said I dreamed that I was rich. So what non-factive presupposition here is? I am not rich. If I say he pretends to be ill, so what is non-factive presupposition is? It means he is not ill. If I say he imagined that we were in London, so what is non-factive presupposition? It means we were not in London. So these were all types of presupposition. Now again, there are 7 types of presupposition. One is potential presupposition. Second is existential presupposition. Third is factive presupposition. Fourth is lexical presupposition. Fifth is structural presupposition. Sixth is counterfactual presupposition. Seventh, the last is non-factive presupposition.